Do you commit to keep this committee fully and currently informed about the activities under your purview?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
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 Do you commit to engaging in meaningful consultation while policies are being developed, not just providing notification after the fact?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
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 Do you commit to promptly responding to requests for briefings and information requested by the committee and its designated staff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
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 Thank you. All four nominees have answered yes to all of the questions. The chair will reserve his time. Let me turn to the distinguished ranking member, Senator Risch, for his questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Van Schacht, what are your thoughts on the ICC?
Yes, thank you for that question, Senator Risch. The United States has a long history of supporting international justice institutions, as I mentioned, dating back to the Nuremberg era, to the 1990s with the renaissance of the field of international justice, and now to contemporary investigative mechanisms working around the globe to document and hold accountable those who stand accused of committing gravest international crimes. I think the International Criminal Court is a part of that larger system. I think in an ideal world, domestic courts would handle the bulk of these matters, and there's work to be done with respect to U.S. foreign policy and programming to help develop domestic capacity so that domestic courts can handle that. But in situations in which those domestic courts are genuinely unwilling or unable to do so, there may be a role for international institutions to step in. The United States has a longstanding objection to the International Criminal Court exercising jurisdiction over the nationals of non-party states, such as the United States, and I will continue to advance that objection if confirmed, as I have done in the past. But I do think that there are situations around the globe where there is a role for the International Criminal Court to play when the state has accepted jurisdiction or the court has jurisdiction by virtue of a referral from the Security Council exercising its peace and security mandate under the UN Charter.
I think that's an excellent analysis, really. I've objected to our participation in ICC just because of the way they have acted over the years, and it's unfortunate because the idea of an ICC, as you point out, going back to the Nuremberg trials, is a certainly laudable idea. The difficulty, of course, is we wind up with such a tremendous prejudice against us. And for that matter, Israel finds itself in the same position that we can't subject ourselves to the jurisdiction of the ICC. And those of us that work in the law are always stunned by how other countries, less developed countries, approach the law and have such a different view of what justice is than we do. So at the present time, in any event, our membership in the ICC is is not in the cards. And your answer to the fact that it does provide some jurisdiction and relief in some areas, I think is appropriate. But at the present time, our submission to that just is not appropriate. Are you in agreement with my analysis of the ICC?
Yes, thank you for that analysis. I do think, and as I mentioned, there is a role to be played and that we should be in a position to support proceedings before the court if it aligns with our foreign policy priorities, if it advances our national security interests, and if that work is ultimately in keeping with our core values around justice and accountability.
Thank you much. I appreciate that. Ms. Cleveland, I want to tell you that we're hoping for big things from you. This committee is getting what my staff calls the Heisman from the legal department. That is, we get a stiff arm, and that's about all. Just as an example, we asked for the department's response regarding the sanctions that are supposed to be put in place under Nord Stream 2, and this is a quote from the response we got from the legal team. Quote, we want to know why the sanctions weren't put in place. This is a quote. Quote, we applied the statute, period. We looked at the relevant facts and determined the entity met the exception, period, end quote. That's not what I expect from a lawyer. And gosh, you've got a heavy lift over there, and well, we aren't the enemy on this committee. It's certainly, we're a different branch of government and sometimes have competing interests, but it's really important that we work together, particularly in some of these areas. So your thoughts?
Thank you, Ranking Member Risch, and I have heard this concern clearly from both your staff and Chairman Menendez and other members of your committee. I know it's a bipartisan concern. As a teacher of U.S. foreign relations for over 20 years, I have always led my class with the importance of the constitutional role of Congress in foreign relations, including oversight, and I would firmly commit to making sure that your role is supported by receiving the information you need from the Office of the Legal Advisor if I were confirmed.
That answer works for me. I hope you can execute. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Amen to that. Senator Cardin.